okay before them. Tell us His truth and shalom and salutations to all the brothers up for the word, truth and sincerity of the heart. I'm going to start right here. Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. Right? Turn the birds. All right? To everything, turn. There is a season and a time. All right? Now we jump down to 8. What time are we in? Time to love. Not so much. And a time to hate. Time of war. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And a time of peace. When they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction, right? All right, let's see what they say about love in these days. Matthew 24, war and rumors of wars, right? What does it say about love in Matthew 24? It says, and the love, where's it at? Love of many I have my glasses on. Here we go. So lucky. And because, right? And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. All right? So what time are we in? We're in the time of hate and division, and in the time of war and not peace. The love of many shall wax cold. All right? So I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible, but this lady, she does some good updates herself. So this is August 10th. Dina Amelia Calmetta, however she says. Russia TV warns of what? Armageddon, Valley of the Troops. Threatens to bomb London and D.C. Russian aircraft spotted near Alaska. What kind of bomb? What kind of bombs are going to be used in Armageddon? Nukes. All right, so let's watch this.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. It's Dina Calmetta here, and for today's news, I just have a short update I'd like to bring to you, just to get you caught up on some of the headlines that have occurred in the last couple of days. And I'd like to start with Russia. It has been reported that Russian surveillance aircraft entered the Alaskan Air Defense Identification Zone twice over a 2-day period. The Alaskan NORAD detected the aircraft, which remained in international airspace, and did not enter American or Canadian sovereign airspace. An air defense identification zone is a self-declared area of airspace surrounding a country or territory within which it will seek to identify foreign military aircraft. Although the zones have no basis in international law, breaching another territory zone is seen as an act of aggression. But according to this report, Russia has remained in international airspace. So very interesting news here. Now, we've seen this before in the past. So nothing to get excited about, but definitely something to note. And with that said, it has been reported that Russia stated on Monday that it was suspending U.S. on-site inspections under a strategic arms reduction treaty with Washington. The Russian Foreign Ministry said facilities that are subject to inspections under the New START treaty will be temporarily exempt from having to undergo them. The New START is the last remaining arms reduction pact between the former Cold War rivals and caps up to 1,550 number of nuclear warheads that can be deployed by Moscow and Washington. The Russian Foreign Ministry said in a statement that Russia is now forced to resort to this measure as a result of Washington's persistent desire to implicitly achieve a restart of inspections on conditions that do not take into account existing realities. Moscow also accused Washington of seeking to create unilateral advantages and deprive Russia of the right to carry out inspections on American soil. The statement indicated that it had become hard for Moscow to carry out inspections on American soil due to Western sanctions, including the closure of airspace for Russian planes and visa restrictions. The Foreign Ministry also stated that we believe that in the current circumstances, the parties should abandon patently counterproductive attempts to artificially speed up the resumption of START inspection activities and focus on a thorough study of all existing problems in this area. So that is certainly some very interesting news coming out of Moscow. It has also been reported that Russia has warned that Armageddon could be on the horizon, and a terrifying warning aired on state TV. Putin's largest state-controlled TV channel has given airtime to the leader of the pro-Kremlin Ukrainian movement, Perus Yurikot, who claimed it was Kyiv in the West jeopardizing nuclear safety. He urged Putin to be ready to fire nuclear missiles at London and Washington. He stated that we also understand very well that Ukraine and the West are concocting a fictional reality over the nuclear power plant. We are dealing with the reality. We need to tell Ukraine and its supporting countries, Britain and America foremost, and make it clear. If the nuclear plant is damaged and a disaster occurs, 2 missiles will immediately strike your decision-making centers. One in Washington, he said, and the other in London. Nuclear ones. And that's what it is. There won't be any more talk. So again, still...
Did you hear that? They said, stop with the shenanigans over the nuclear power plant, because if you do a FF, a false flag, we're going to immediately fire nukes on that ass. Right?
Plant. We are dealing with the reality.
Listen close.
Ukraine and the West are concocting a fictional reality over the nuclear power plant. We are dealing with the reality. We need to tell Ukraine and its supporting countries, Britain and America foremost, and make it clear. If the nuclear plant is damaged and a disaster occurs, 2 missiles will immediately strike your decision-making centers. One in Washington, he said, and the other in London. Nuclear ones. And that's what it is. There won't be any more talk. So again, still threatening with nuclear war. Is it all just talk? Just propaganda? Well, hopefully it is, but I guess only time will tell. In the meantime, Russia has successfully launched an Iranian satellite into orbit amid U.S. concerns over its planned purpose. Iran has said that it will be used for environmental monitoring and will remain under Iran's control. But last week, U.S. officials said that they feared that the satellite could be used by Moscow to spy on troop movements in Ukraine. The unnamed sources added that the satellite could give Iran and Russia unprecedented capabilities to almost continuously monitor troop movements and bases. But Iran has rejected the allegations and emphasized that it will have full control and operation over the satellite from day one. The rumors about using the satellite's photos for military purposes, according to Iran, are just wrong. So very interesting story there. Now with that said, Breitbart is reporting that the Hezbollah chief has warned that his terror group would sever Israel's hand if it dared to try and access offshore gas reserves, threatening to attack the Jewish state.
See how complete this update is? She's touched on the Carmanians or the Persians, right? She's touching on pretty much everything. Okay?
Next month. It was the 4th such threat in as many as weeks by the terror chief. He said that we have to be ready for all options. Any aggression towards Lebanon will not go unpunished. The U.S. in the meantime is brokering talks surrounding a decades-long maritime dispute between Israel and Lebanon. Oil and gas reserves were discovered in the territorial waters under dispute. It goes on finally to report that Hezbollah has threatened war over Israel's decision to develop the Karish gas field and has attacked the rig twice in recent months. The Israeli military intercepted 4 Hezbollah drones headed for the rig in June and July, respectively. But the terror chief went on to state that Lebanon's oil, gas, and water resources must remain under its control, and no one should be allowed to rob the country. The hand that reaches for any of this wealth will be severed. So more trouble for Israel coming from Hezbollah.
Wait a minute. Now, who's the terror chief? Let's ask the Palestinians, right? You see these words? Weasel words? Right. Tell me that we're not in the time of war. What time are we in? War. Terror. Okay? Get it? A little more left. Let's see.
I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But finally, let's talk about China. The military has announced the successful completion of assignments around the island, but of course added that regular patrols will continue. The PLA stated on Wednesday that it had successfully completed various missions during recent drills around Taiwan's island and effectively tested the troops' joint operation combat capacity. China said that it will continue military training and preparation and organize patrols in the Taiwan Strait in order to resolutely defend national sovereignty and territorial integrity. The announcement comes shortly after Beijing released a white paper refusing to rule out the use of force in its efforts to unify Taiwan with the mainland, noting, however, that it will strive for a peaceful unification. In the meanwhile, Taiwan's foreign minister on Tuesday warned that China is using these aggressive military drills around the island as a part of a broader plan for what it fears is an impending invasion. The foreign minister told reporters in Taipei that Taiwan will not be intimidated by China's aggression, but said that China has used the drills in its military playbook to prepare for the invasion of Taiwan. It's conducting large-scale military exercises and missile launches, as well as cyber attacks, disinformation, and economic coercion in an attempt to weaken public morale in Taiwan. It goes on further to report that Wu did not offer a timeline on when Taipei thinks Beijing could officially order troops to invade the island, though some reporting has suggested that it could happen by 2024, as China and the U.S. prepare for elections. And finally, Taiwan's military carried out their own artillery firing drills in its southernmost region on Tuesday, in response to China's unprecedented live fire exercises around the island. So lots and lots of tension all around the world. But I just wanted to bring you guys
lots and lots of tension. What time are we in? Tell me what. Clear. Oh. Yes. All right. Time of love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. Are we in the time of peace? No, we're not. All right. Any day when one of these skirmishes jumps off, somebody makes a mistake, then what? The third woe. Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. World War III right there in the scriptures. All right, so with that, we'll keep it short. We'll end it right here. We hope that the elect will edify you, brothers and few sisters. With that, we will sit shut.